I was in Eau Claire when we met. I was working at the Eau Claire YMCA for the maintenance company, or the maintenance there. And Tony Johnson came up to visit from home, and he called me up and was like, hey, do you want to come hang out? And when he got there, he was like, you know, I've got this other friend too, and maybe we all three should hang out. And so the friend was Hannah, and so the three of us went to Iron Man 2 and enjoyed the night. Apparently, neither one of them had actually seen Iron Man 1, and so I was under the impression that they had and didn't give them any guidance on what was going to be happening. And they walked out of the theater completely confused, but it ended up all right. Yeah.
Mike and I met through our mutual friend Tony. Tony had gone to school with Mike in Platteville, and then Tony transferred to Eau Claire, where we became friends. And then 2 summers ago, Mike was in town in Eau Claire, hanging out with Mike for the weekend, and gave me a call to hang out, and we went to the Budget, and I think we went out that night and just got to know each other. And I just kind of went because I had nothing else going on, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen Tony in a while, I'll go hang out. And so yeah, it just kind of then hung out the next day again, and then I went out to eat with his parents and him, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people except Tony, but I was like, sure, why not? I don't have anything else going on. And so yeah, and then Tony went back to his hometown, and then just Mike Facebooked me the next morning, Monday morning I think, and just we started talking and then started hanging out. And yeah, and I found out about a year later that Tony had intentions of setting us up, but I was just kind of like, oh, I just thought you guys called me, but Mike knew that, I did not. And I guess it worked out really well.
When I proposed, I went up to Camp Forest Springs, where she was working for the summer on a contract position as a head cook. And I got up there, and she knew I was coming, but she had to work that Saturday morning. And so I went out for a walk and cruised through some of the backwoods and found the spot that I had kind of picked out as far as, you know, this would be a good spot. And she'd kind of said yeah, this looks nice and pretty. And so I was like, all right, I gotta know how to get there, and then we're gonna go for a walk, and then we're gonna do the question. And so I went for that walk. I came back to her room. I went into her room and got this little box, this little wood box with a ladybug looking thing with hearts on its back. And I grabbed that, and so the little love bug, which was really awesome because her dad always called her Bug when she was just a little one. And so I finally found my love bug, which was cool. But anyways, so I found that, and I brought that out, and after she got done with work, I was like, you know, we should go for a walk. And she was kind of suspecting something was up because I don't usually go, we should go for a walk. But she didn't say anything really and played along, and so we went out and we got to this spot and we stopped, and we have a tendency to stop and just look at God's creation, and so that was not all that abnormal. And then I started to go to one knee, and I pulled out the little love bug box, and was just like, oh, no, just kidding, this isn't really a proposal. And then I got up, and she had that look of, I'm going to kill you now. And so I gave her a little bit more of a speech. I told her that I loved her for the first time, and dropped to a knee, and she was kind of speechless at that point. Because, like I said, I'd never told her that I loved her before that. And she was like, oh my goodness, it's happening. And so I pulled out the ring and asked her to marry me. And she bounced around for a little while and cried a little bit. And we were on a bridge, and we kind of messed up the ski trail, but that's all right. And at that time, she got a text message from one of her close friends, Lauren Coleman, and she asked, hey, what are you guys up to? She's like, frantically looking at me going, can I tell her, can I tell her, can I tell her, can I tell her, can I tell her? And so she tried to text her back in the middle of January with no gloves on and couldn't really do it. So I managed to steal the phone from her and text back, we just got engaged.
So Mike proposed on January 21st, 2012, exactly 6 months ago. And I waited for a while. We had started talking about getting married the summer before that. And just kind of, I was at camp for the year and he got a job down in Illinois. And so I just waited and we did the long distance thing. And so I thought he was going to propose on my birthday, which was at the end of November, and he didn't. And then I thought he was going to propose at Christmas, but he didn't, because it's like I knew he could only propose when we actually saw each other. So that made those times a little more nerve-wracking, flinching when he puts his hand in his pocket and just, yeah. And then he came up to camp that weekend. We hadn't seen each other in about 4 weeks. And at this point, I just kind of like shoved everything aside. I'm just like, you know what? I've been working on trying to stay content and trusting him and knowing that like he wants us too, so he'll do it when he wants to. And so it was just giving it to God, giving it up to Mike, and this is not about me. And so he came that weekend where I worked in the kitchen, and he came down and we chatted during lunch, and then I had to go finish cleaning up. And during that time, I found out later, he was scoping out the spot, and I just thought he was going for a walk. And so I went back and got changed, and we went for a walk on the pretty camp trails, and it was all snowy and perfect. And so we're just walking along, and I'm just, at this point, just enjoying just going for a walk with my best friend. And then we stopped on this little bridge right before one of the campsites, which in the summer is one of my absolute favorite spots. And he turned to me and started saying some really sweet things, and I was just like, dang, this is awesome. And then he unzipped his coat pocket and he pulled out this little wooden box and had this lady, and then he started to like fake kneel down and open the box, and then he like stood up and said, "Oh, I'm just kidding." And I'm thinking like, oh, you just can't do that to a girl, like that's not fair. But then right after he stood up, he told me he loved me for the very first time, and I knew he had told me a long time before that he didn't want to say I love you until he was engaged. So now he fake proposed and said, I love you, and I'm just really, really, really confused and kind of mad, but I don't know what to do. But he kept talking, so that's why I never said anything. And just telling me just amazing things about just our relationship, and that he'd been praying about just asking to marry me, and knew I was the one. And so then he put that little box away. Oh, and the box he had given me and swiped from my room. It had a little ladybug and it said, I heart you in it. And so he used that. And so he put that back in his pocket, and then he pulled out this really shiny box and he knelt down in the snow and opened the box to the most perfect ring ever that he completely picked out himself, and asked to marry me. And I started crying and jumping up and down and said yes. And yeah, it was so great. And then yeah, went back to camp and told a lot of people, and it was perfect. He did the most perfect job ever.
I'm feeling pretty good. I think until I got my suit on, I was just going to a wedding and gonna go watch somebody get married. And now it's more like, yeah, this is me. I get to go up to the front. Not really good with performances, so it's kind of still that awkward. I'm gonna stand in front of a bunch of people and do this, but the marriage part is cool. I'm really looking forward to that.
I feel really good. The last couple days, things have been coming together unlike I could even have planned for. Like I've planned and planned and planned for 6 months, and things are coming out better than I ever expected them to. And so I'm just so excited for all these people that I love and adore to come, and that gives me a lot of energy. And so even just like throughout the shower and seeing my bridesmaids, and I'm slowly getting to see more and more people, and I'm just so excited. And just seeing Mike is just, it's surreal, but I guess it's happening, and it's just so good.
I think she's feeling pretty good. We have been looking forward to this day for a while, and I think that she is a little excited, probably a lot excited, but for the most part, just ready to go have a marriage.
He seemed really calm, so I think he's feeling good, feeling happy. He's with all his friends, and I think that is just really good for him. And he's having a lot of fun. He said, so I'm like, oh, that's so good. And because when Mike says he's having fun, he's definitely having fun. So, and I think we're finally ready to do this. We can never be ready, but we're doing it. And so, yeah, I think he's ready and I'm ready, so it's good.
Hannah, I just want to say that I love you, and I'm really looking forward to being your husband, and yeah, having a friend for the rest of my life. So, thank you.
Mike, I am just so pumped this day is finally here. It doesn't even feel real that this is our wedding day. Yeah, and then just seeing you, and you look amazing, and I'm just so excited and pumped to just spend the rest of my life with you, and to finally not do this long distance thing anymore, and to see you every day. And yeah, just thanks for being my best friend and doing everything with me, and just doing life together and learning together, and I just love you so much, and I'm so excited this is our day finally.